You have been wondering, not obsessively, not in the spiraling, cannot function, checking your phone every 4 minutes kind of way, but in that quieter, more dignified, more private version of wondering that lives just beneath the surface of your ordinary days, the kind that surfaces in the pause between one task and the next, in the specific quality of stillness that arrives just before sleep. In the unguarded moment when your mind, no longer occupied with the business of daily life, drifts naturally toward the one thing it keeps returning to without your permission, them, and the question that lives underneath all the other questions. What are they actually thinking? Not what they are saying, not what the surface of their behavior communicates, not the version of their inner world that is visible from the outside and available for public interpretation, but the real thing, the uncensored, unperformed, private interior of what is moving through their mind when the defenses are down and the truth is allowed to exist without an audience. That is what I am going to give you today. Stay with me. Because what I received when I tuned into this energy was not a general impression, it was specific, it was layered. And it arrived with the kind of texture that only belongs to something genuinely true. The first thing on their mind is you in a context they did not choose. Let me explain what I mean by that, because the distinction matters enormously. There are thoughts people have about someone because they deliberately turn their attention there, because they make the conscious choice to think about a person and follow that thread intentionally. Those thoughts have a certain quality. They are considered curated, even. They tend to move in predictable directions and arrive at conclusions the thinker has some control over. That is not what is happening here. What is happening here is the other kind, the intrusive kind, the kind that arrives uninvited in the middle of something completely unrelated, that appears without warning while they are in the middle of a conversation with someone else, while they are doing something mundane and mechanical that requires no real mental engagement and therefore leaves the door open for what is actually living in their unconscious to walk through uninvited. You walk through uninvited constantly, and the specific quality of these uninvited appearances is what tells the real story, because we cannot control what our mind reaches for in its unguarded moments. We can control what we do with those reaches. We can redirect and suppress and discipline the attention back to more comfortable territory. But we cannot control the reaching itself, and this person's mind reaches for you repeatedly, reflexively, with a consistency that they have probably begun to notice and have no satisfying explanation for. Let me go into the specific texture of what they are thinking, because this is the heart of what you came here for, and I want to deliver it with the fullness it deserves. The dominant thought, the one that sits at the center of everything else like a sun that the other thoughts orbit around, is something I would describe as quiet amazement. Not the loud, dramatic, romantic comedy version of amazement, something stiller than that, more interior. The specific quality of amazement that arrives when a person has had enough time and enough distance from something to see it clearly, to see you clearly, without the distortion of proximity, without the noise of daily dynamic, without whatever was happening inside them that made full clarity difficult when you were still in the same space regularly. From this distance, they see you. And what they see is producing in them a feeling that has the quality of someone who has been holding something beautiful in their hands without fully understanding what they were holding, and who has only now, in the looking back, understood its value completely. They are amazed by you, by the specific combination of things you are that they have not encountered assembled in the same way in anyone else, by the quality of your presence, by the particular way you move through the world with that Virgo blend of precision and genuine warmth that seems contradictory until you witness it operating as a single coherent thing, by the standards you hold, by the way you love when you love, by the things you notice, by the things you do not say. They are turning you over in their mind the way someone turns over something they cannot stop examining, with wonder and with something that sits just beside wonder that I am going to name in a moment. Let me pull the cards into this because they came through strongly the moment I began this reading, and what they are showing adds a layer of specificity I want to honor. The card I keep seeing for this person is the Page of Cups. And I want to sit with that for a moment because the Page of Cups is not what people typically expect when they think about what someone is feeling for them. It does not have the grand romantic sweep of the Lovers or the total devotion of the Ten of Cups. It is quieter than those cards, more tentative, more interior. The Page of Cups is the card of a feeling that is new in its fullness, even if it has been present for a while, of an emotional awareness that is still being discovered rather than fully known, of someone who is standing at the edge of something they recognize as significant but have not yet found the full language for, who is turning a feeling over and over in the specific way of someone who knows they are holding something important but have not yet figured out exactly what to do with it. This person is in their Page of Cups moment with you. They know what they feel, but they are still in the discovery of the full dimensions of it, still finding new layers every time they go back to examine it. Still surprised repeatedly by how much is there and how little of it they have successfully resolved or redirected or moved past. The feeling keeps revealing new depth, and every time it does, you are on their mind with renewed intensity. The second thing that is on their mind is a specific moment. I want to be careful here because the moment I am sensing is not one I can identify with perfect precision. But what I can tell you is that there is something, a specific, particular, real memory that they return to with a frequency that is disproportionate to the ordinary weight that memory should carry. It is probably not the most dramatic moment between you. It is probably not the obvious candidate, not the biggest conversation or the most significant event or the moment that would appear in the highlight reel of what existed between you. It is something smaller, something that happened in an ordinary context, a moment when you were simply being yourself without any particular intention or performance, when something genuine slipped through in an unguarded way, a laugh, a look, something you said without thinking that landed in them with a precision that surprised even the part of them that was paying close attention. They were paying close attention. And this small, unguarded, entirely authentic moment of yours has become the thing they return to. Not because it was dramatic, because it was real, because In that moment, you were more undisguisedly yourself than you perhaps even realized, and what they saw in that unguarded instant is the thing they have been trying to reconcile with everything else ever since. Because it showed them something about who you actually are beneath the composed, capable, self possessed surface you present to the world. Something tender, something that contradicted whatever simpler story they had been telling themselves about you and replaced it with a version that is more complicated, more specific, and considerably harder to stop thinking about. That moment lives in them. Today, it is more present than usual. Does it feel like someone has been in your energy recently? Not loudly, not in a way that has any obvious external expression, but in that subtle atmospheric way where you find yourself thinking of a specific person and cannot fully explain the trigger, where they appear in your awareness with a clarity that feels like more than memory. Leave something in the comments if this is landing, even just a yes, because I think many of you came here today carrying this exact question and deserve to know that what you have been sensing is not the product of wishful thinking. It is reception. You are picking up a signal that is genuinely being sent. The third thing on their mind is something I want to approach carefully because it is the most vulnerable layer of what I am receiving, and it deserves to be handled with the respect that vulnerability requires. They are thinking about what they did not say, not in the general sense of having withheld affection or held back warmth or failed to communicate the obvious things that should have been communicated, more specific than that. There are particular words, a particular truth that existed in them and that had multiple opportunities to be spoken and was not. Not because they did not feel it, but because something, fear or timing, or the particular way they protect themselves when they are in the presence of something that matters enormously to them, closed the door before the words could walk through it. Those unspoken words are louder now than they would have been if they had been said when they were ready. That is always how it goes. The things we do not say develop a specific resonance in their containment, a pressure. They do not simply dissolve because the moment passed. They live in the body, in the catch of breath at a certain kind of song, in the particular quality of restlessness that visits at unexpected hours, in the impulse toward a phone that is then talked down from by the rational mind, offering all the reasons why now is not the right time. There is never a right time that arrives on its own. This person is learning that the hard way, and the unspoken thing is on their mind today with a weight that the simple passage of time has done nothing to reduce. I want to go somewhere that I feel is important for you specifically, not just as information about this other person, but as something relevant to where you are in yourself right now. You have been doing something quietly remarkable in this season, something that has nothing to do with this person or this situation or whatever dynamic exists between you. You have been tending to yourself, to the parts of yourself that needed attention after whatever this situation cost you, to the places where hope encountered reality and the collision left something that needed care. You have been doing that care privately, without much fanfare, in the specific, methodical, thorough way that Virgo tends to everything they apply themselves to. And the person on the other side of this reading can feel it. Not because you told them, not because anything visible has communicated the internal work you have been doing, but because the energy of someone who is genuinely healing, genuinely growing, genuinely moving deeper into themselves rather than simply managing the surface of what they are going through, that energy is perceptible, even at a distance, even through silence. What is on their mind is not just the you they remember, it is the you they can sense you becoming. And that version of you, the one being shaped by exactly this season, by everything you have been moving through quietly and with such grace, is even more present in their thoughts than the version they knew before. You are on their mind in the present tense, not as a memory. As a reality, they are acutely aware of existing somewhere they currently cannot reach. Let me speak now to the thing I said was sitting beside wonder, the thing I named and then held back because it needed the context of everything else to land properly. It is longing, not the soft, romantic, pleasantly melancholic version of longing that sounds beautiful in songs and poetry, the real version, the one with edges, the one that is not always comfortable to sit with, because it contains within it the full awareness of distance and the full uncertainty of whether that distance can or will be bridged. They are longing for you with that real version, the one that does not make them feel poetic or romantic or beautifully sad, the one that just makes them ache in a way that interrupts things, that makes certain hours of the day heavier than others. That makes the absence of something they had access to or could have had access to feel like a subtraction from the basic quality of daily experience that they did not budget for and cannot easily compensate for. This is what is on their mind, Virgo. Not a curated, comfortable version of feeling. The actual thing, unwieldy, persistent, more honest than they would choose to be if they were choosing. I want to pause here and offer you something grounding. Because a reading like this one, that goes this deep into someone else's interior world, can create a kind of emotional turbulence that deserves to be acknowledged and met with something stabilizing. What you do with this information is yours. Entirely, completely, without qualification, yours. This reading is not an argument for any particular response or action or emotional position. It is not suggesting that knowing what is on their mind obligates you to feel anything specific or do anything specific or open any door that your own wisdom has determined should remain closed for now. Knowledge is not prescription. Knowing is not deciding. You can receive this fully and still choose exactly what you are already choosing. Or you can receive this and find that it shifts something, that it fills in a gap in your understanding, that changes the quality of your own interior landscape in a way that creates new options. Either is valid, both are yours. What I want most for you as you sit with this is not a particular outcome. It is simply that you have the full picture, that you are not navigating in the partial visibility of not knowing. That whatever you choose it from the grounded, clear eyed, fully informed position of someone who sees what is actually happening rather than having to guess from the incomplete evidence of surface behavior. You deserve the full picture. This is it. Let me bring this toward its close now, because I feel we have gone somewhere real together today, and I want to land it with the care it deserves. What is on their mind is you, in the quiet of the morning before the day shapes itself, in the unremarkable middle of an ordinary afternoon when something small and utterly unrelated triggers the specific neural pathway that leads, inevitably, back to your face or your voice or the particular feeling of being in your presence in the late hours when the discipline of not thinking about you weakens and what is true rises unchecked to the surface. You specifically, particularly, irreplaceably, not a generic longing for connection or warmth or someone who understands them, not a non specific emotional hunger that you happen to represent, but you, your particular combination of precision and tenderness, your specific quality of seeing people with an accuracy that most people are not capable of, and most people who are capable of it do not also pair with genuine warmth. Your standards, your depth, the way you make people feel simultaneously held and challenged by your presence, which is an extraordinarily rare thing to produce in another person. That is what is on their mind. The irreplaceable, specific, unrepeatable you. And here is what I want to leave you with, the thing that I feel most clearly as we close, and that I want to make sure lands before we part. You do not need their thinking of you to confirm your worth. The fact that you are on someone's mind with this kind of consistency and this kind of depth is meaningful. It is real. It deserves to be received rather than dismissed. But it is not the source of your value. Your value existed before they began thinking about you this way. It existed in the moments when you were not on anyone's mind in particular. It exists in the quiet of your own life when no one is watching and no one is wanting, and the only measure of who you are is the one you apply to yourself. What is on their mind is simply the evidence of something that was always true about you. And the most powerful thing you can do with that evidence is let it confirm what you already know, not what they know, what you know about yourself, about your worth, about the extraordinary, specific, genuinely rare quality of what you bring to the people lucky enough to be in your orbit. Let it confirm that, and then carry it forward into whatever comes next with the particular Virgo grace that has never once, through any of this, abandoned you. Tell me in the comments what this stirred. Tell me the one thing that hit differently. Tell me if this confirms something you felt but could not prove. Because your words here become part of something larger than this reading, and someone reading them tomorrow might need exactly what you have to say today. Until next time. In case you were wondering, they are thinking about you right now with their whole complicated, unguarded, honest heart, and they would give a great deal for you to know it.